Hello everybody, welcome back to Jakey Hate Reads. It's been so long, I know you've all missed me so much. It has been, I think 5 months since I posted a video. I don't want to hear nothing about it. I started a new job, I'm teaching again, and it was just an adjustment. You know, the kids be wearing me out. I just don't have the time I used to have, but we're waking it back up for 2026. I'm coming at you. I have a few videos planned in the next coming week, so I should be posting more and more consistently over the coming months, hopefully, fingers crossed. And we are starting with a book haul. Before we get into the video, we have to all put in the comments clapping emojis, thank you emojis, and all of that to my friends Adriana and Atlas, who bought me this camera. This is not the first video I'm recording on this camera, but is the first video I'm posting with this camera. It's the first time you are seeing me filming from my new camera. Here's my phone. I'm not recording on my phone anymore. I was lamenting to them back in July probably about how much of a pain in the ass it is to record all of these videos on my phone and be editing them from my phone and all of that, and how hard it was on my phone to like keep up. I noticed it was going slower, it was harder to transfer the videos and all that, and so they came together and as an early birthday present got me this camera, and then I abruptly stopped making content because I got a new job. So of course they understand, but they have been making jokes to me about like, love to buy you a new camera and then you never post again. But I'm back and we're posting from my beautiful new camera, which I'm so thankful for and is so nice, and is making sure to make my life so much easier. As soon as I can figure out how to transfer what I'm filming onto something I can edit these videos on. I'm nothing if not a boomer, but I'm gonna figure it out. And it's gonna make my content so much better. So thank you both. I have not done a book haul since like Q2, my like April, May, June book haul. So I have 6 months worth of books that I need to catch you all up on. I have over 60 books here. That's like more than 10 books a month. I can't think about that for too long because that's just far too many books. But I'm very excited about a lot of them. I've started reading some of them. I have read some of them. Some of them are from authors I've read before. It's all very exciting. So I'm going to start. I don't have these organized by month. I'm not doing it like that. It's just here are all the books. I didn't want to organize them. And honestly, I can't even promise that, well, I think I can promise that I haven't hauled these books already. Some of them tried to slip in. Some things that I have already hauled on the channel before tried to slip in a little bit. I had to go through, take them out. But I can't promise that these are all of the books that I bought over the past 6 months because they got lost. You know, they just get lost. And I tried to have, whenever I bought something that I haven't actually talked about on the channel yet, I tried to like put it aside in a special place. But I only have so much space and there's so many books. Some things may have moved around a little bit, but we still have plenty of books to talk about today, and I'm going to start with all of the books that I've gotten like in a book subscription. So let's start with Aardvark. Again, not organized by month. Does anyone care? I don't. First is All of Us Murderers by KJ Charles. This is a paranormal mystery gothic with romance between these two hot boys. Next, I have Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. This is about a woman who is a statistician. And there's like an apocalyptic type thing that happens where very unlikely events all happen all at once. And she has to navigate through that. I have Hot Girls with Balls. I should be telling you the authors. Benedict Wen. Trans volleyball players, and I think there's a romance between them. The Hounding by Zenobi Purvis. I don't know. Don't remember. That's going to be the thing, you guys. I don't remember what some of these are about. The Crucible meets the Virgin Suicides in this haunting debut about 5 sisters in a small village in 18th century England whose neighbors are convinced they're turning into dogs. Wow. House of Beth by Carrie Cullen. I don't know. The only thing I remember is it's about a woman living with OCD and perhaps there's a haunted house. She has like intrusive thoughts because of her OCD. That's something that I struggle with as well, so I'm always looking for that kind of representation. Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. a old woman used to be a serial killer, and when a reporter comes back to dredge into her past, she has to get back into the biz. You Weren't Meant to Be Human by Andrew Joseph White. Alien meets Midsummer in this chilling novel from award-winning author about an alien invasion in rural West Virginia. That sounds fun. Local Heavens by Kayam Fajardo. Very, very excited about this. This is like a queer cyberpunk Great Gatsby retelling. The author of this is a YouTuber in the book community. She's like on WriterTube. I've been following her journey writing this book for a while now, and so when this was published through Aardvark, no less, I was very, very excited. The cover is beautiful. This is also the only, also, let's look at the under the dust jacket. Gorgeous. And this is the only hardcover printing. It was only printed in paperback in other printings besides through Aardvark. So got the only hardcover. The Autumn Springs Retirement Home Massacre by Philip Fracessi. This is about a massacre going on in a retirement home, and there's this old woman trying to figure it all out. And so it's like old lady final girl type beat. And that sounds fun. I have Salt Crop by Yumi Kitase. I'm so sorry for all the name massacres I've been doing. Don't remember what this is about. In Earth's not too distant future, seas consume coastal cities, highways disintegrate underwater, and mutant fish lurk in pirate-controlled depths. It's like future, what is a not too distant future? Near future, post-apocalypse, water world type beat. Sounds fun. I have Isn't It Obvious by Rachel Runya Katz. I have said on this channel before, and I maintain, that I am past the point in my reading life where I want to be reading straight romance. However, this has other things going for it besides the romance. It is about a high school librarian, Yael. I think that's how you say her name. She's a high school librarian. She runs a book club that I think is queer teen book club. Yeah. And so I'm interested in like that, like point of view and that part of the story. And then maybe I'll enjoy the romance too, even though it is between heterosexuals. I have A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett, which I think, is this the sequel? I actually don't remember. Is this the sequel or is this the first book? I hauled the first book on the channel already, I think. I don't remember if this is the sequel. It doesn't say in the synopsis, like, oh yeah, and this brilliant fantasy mystery from the author of The Tainted Cup. Yeah, the Tainted Cup is the original. A Drop of Corruption is the sequel, I believe. Anyway, this is like mystery that is like in sort of like a queer utopia type thing where people are free to express themselves through sexuality and gender however they choose, and it's not really, it's sort of a non-issue in this society, and I am interested in a story like that. At least I think that's what it is. And finally, we have Itch by Gemma Amor. It's about a woman who thinks bugs are under her skin after discovering a dead body that was infested with bugs, I believe. And that sounds disgusting. Great. Okay, so that's all my aardvark. Let's get into my book of the month. First, I didn't actually get this from book of the month, Alice Feeney's Daisy Darker. It is the book of the month edition, but I actually found it secondhand at a local secondhand store. But it's book of the month edition, so I added it here. Don't know what this is about, but I like Alice Feeney. Well, I've read one Alice Feeney, Rock, Paper, Scissors. I want to read more from her this year. Probably not this one because I don't hear good things about it. But I have other books by her on my shelves that I want to be getting into. Next we have Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. You cannot tell, but like this cover is so textured. All these flowers are like popping off the cover. It's so nice. I don't know what this is about, but I know C.G. Drews writes like queer YA horror. Evander has lived like a ghost in the forgotten corners of the Hazelthorn estate ever since he was taken in by his reclusive billionaire guardian, Byron Lennox Hall, when he was a child. For his safety, Evander has been given 3 ironclad rules to follow. Oh, I was only going to read the first paragraph, but now I can't leave you hanging on what the rules are. He can never leave the estate, he can never go into the gardens, and most importantly, he can never again be left alone with Byron's charming, underachieving grandson, Laurie. So obviously they're not going to leave each other alone, and they're going to be gay for each other. So that sounds exciting. I also have The Haunting of Payne's Hollow by Kelly Armstrong. This is like a Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman retelling, I guess. We have Flat Earth by Annika Jade Levy. Do not remember what this is about. A young woman struggles with the artistic success of her more privileged, beautiful best friend in this ruthless portrait of the New York art scene. That paragraph does not sound something like I would be interested in, but there was something else about it, clearly, that made me choose it. Don't remember what it was. Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber. This beautiful Book of the Month exclusive edition with the sprayed edges. Folklore 517. Local legends and urban myths taught by a woman called the Professor. And then it's like, I think, magical in some way. It's like magical and studious and about academia, and that all sounds great. And then we have To the Moon and Back by Eliana Ramage. One young woman's relentless quest to become the first Cherokee astronaut will alter the fates of the people she loves most in this tour de force about ambition, belonging, and family. That sounds so good. And then I also have dipped my toes into Allurial, which is another book subscription service. I got one book from them the month that it dropped. It's called The Entanglement of Rival Wizards by Sarah Rash, I guess is her last name. R-A-A-S-C-H. Beautiful sprayed edges. Can you get into it? Can you get into it? Cute cover, cute boys on the cover. And then, like, you know, it's just pretty. This is, again, fantasy academia, rivals to lovers, rival wizards, academic rivals, and then they are bound to fall in love, I guess. Sounded so good. Had to subscribe to Allurial to get this edition, and they baited me because they were like, they didn't bait me. I'm sure it was in the fine print and I just didn't read it. But to get, because this was like a deal. It was like, get your first book for like $5 or something like that. And so I did it, but then when I tried to cancel, because I'm like, they cater to like romantasy readers, and this is the only male romantasy that has ever been on their catalog. And again, I'm just like not interested in reading straight romantasy. And so I like subscribed to get this, and then I was going to cancel my subscription, and then it was like, no, in order to get the deal, which you already got, you have to do one more month. And so they took that like $22 or whatever it is out of my account, and I'm just waiting for another romantasy that I could be interested in, but I'm just not interested in like straight romance at all, never mind romantasy. There was a sapphic romantasy this month that I was thinking of getting, but it was like a vampire story, and I don't know how much I'm into vampire stories. I do think I maybe have a vampire vlog coming, because I do have quite a few vampire books on my shelves, despite not knowing how I feel about vampires. 2025 was just a big year for vampires, and I'm kind of over it. There were so many like vampire movies. 2024 too, like the past couple years, there's been so much vampire stuff. I'm just kind of over it. But I think I'm gonna read a bunch of vampire books in the coming months. Did I haul Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab? I have that too. It's sitting right there. Can't remember if I hauled it. Okay, let's do nonfiction next. Okay, next I have a stack of nonfiction. Bad Gays, A Homosexual History by I think it's pronounced Hugh, H-U-W, not sure. Hugh Lemmy and Ben Miller. This is about queer like villains in history. So like maybe like tyrannical rulers or like mobsters that were gay, and how their like identity perhaps connects to whatever villainry they were doing. I have Gay Bar, Why We Went Out by Jeremy Atherton Lynn. This is sort of like memoir a little bit, where I think what I'm to be expecting here is sort of the author's accounting of his relationship with gay bars and his experiences going out to gay bars, and then using that as a lens to like critique or maybe not critique, but like analyze queer culture. I also have Queer Enlightenments by Anthony Delaney. This is another like queer figures that have been lost to history. I think specifically, I'm not like a history person, but I think it's called Queer Enlightenments because it's like in the like Enlightenment era. Is that an era of time? Enlightenment era? I don't know. Queer figures lost to history. I have Sing Like a Fish, How Sound Rules Life Underwater by Amarina Kingdon. This is exactly what it sounds like. How sound rules life underwater and like how different aquatic species use sound. A captivating exploration of how underwater animals tap into sound to survive and a clarion call for humans to address the ways we invade these critical soundscapes. Cool. The Lost World of Dinosaurs, Uncovering the Secrets of the Prehistoric Age. And an enrapturing tale of the age of the dinosaurs, tracing their earliest origins, their astounding 200 million year reign, and their infamous demise. Probably just a bunch of stuff that I learned in like 4th grade, but I like the sort of like paleontology of it all. I just like learning about science, and it just like sounded, I don't know, it just sounded fun. I have The Secret History of Bigfoot, Field Notes on a North American Monster by John O'Connor. This is about, I guess, our history, or I guess our like cultural relationship with Bigfoot, the like mythos behind it, and end sentence. Last Scene, The Enduring Search by Formerly Enslaved People to Find Their Lost Families by Judith Geisberg, I believe is how you say that name. This is a collection of real world accounts. Oh, I was hiding an Amazon gift card in here apparently. Slay. A collection of stories post-emancipation of people whose family members were sold and them trying to find them again. I think there's letters in here. There's like postings that people created to like put in newspapers or to like put on town message boards, trying to seek help finding their family members, and I think it'll be very powerful. I have The Martians, The True Story of an Alien Craze That Captured Turn of the Century America by David Barron. Apparently, in the turn of the century sometimes, like the early 1900s, there was a report that life on Mars was discovered, and that obviously impacted people's... Let me just read it. In the early 1900s, many Americans actually believed we had discovered intelligent life on Mars. As best-selling science writer David Barron chronicles The Martians, his truly bizarre tale of a nation swept up in Mars mania. Cool. And then I have Progress, How One Idea Built Civilization and Now Threatens to Destroy It by Samuel Miller MacDonald. This, as I understand it, is about like this idea of progress and how progress has been the motivating force behind like civilization since time immemorial. But now our idea of progress is, by this author's thesis, sort of to our detriment at this point. And so it's sort of a call to, I guess, maybe redefine what we mean by progress and how we progress in a way that is more sustainable to us. So those are my nonfiction. I now have a stack of books that are either by authors that I've read before or books that I have already read. I just haven't hauled yet. Let's start with books that I haven't read yet, but they're by authors I've read before. The Female of the Species by Joyce Carol Oates is a short story collection. My favorite short story ever is Heat by Joyce Carol Oates. I have been reading but have not yet finished Zero Sum Stories by Joyce Carol Oates, which is also a short story collection. I've enjoyed several stories from that collection. I just enjoy Joyce Carol Oates as a short story author, so I found this at a secondhand store and I wanted to pick it up. The Burial Tide by Neil Sharpson. This author's debut came out in 2024, I think, maybe 2023. Knock Knock Open Wide. Fantastic Irish folklore horror. This, I think, will be the same vibe. Lex Croucher, Not for the Faint of Heart. I, earlier this year, read Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by the same author. By the same author who writes Arthurian era stories really well. I only have one data point, it was just one book, but I really enjoyed it. The sequel has since come out, or is coming out? No, it hasn't come out, it's coming out. But she has also wrote this, which I think is a sapphic romance. And that's all I know about it, but I like the author, so yay. In a pivot, an author I historically have not liked, so why did I buy this? Cassandra Caw, The Library at Hellbore. Let's see. This is a punk rock eldritch god, carnage-fueled battle royale, dark academia, more metal than I'll ever be and too cool for most of you, says Olivia Blake. So that's a smashing recommendation, but I have read Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Caw and I hated it. So we're gonna give her another chance. This sounded really good. I don't remember exactly what it's about right now. Olivia Blake's blurb about it is, I think, good enough for me. We're gonna give her another chance. We're giving Cassandra Caw another chance. 50 Beasts to Break Your Heart is a short story collection by Jenna Rose Nethercott, who wrote Thistlefoot, which I read in 2023 and absolutely loved. It is one of my favorite books, hands down. She has no other novels out, but she dropped this short story collection, so I'm excited for this. Next, okay, so those were authors that I've read from before, but I haven't read those books. Now these books I have either read or am currently reading. Let's start with something slightly insane. Calabasas by R.F. Kuang, 2 deluxe special editions. Here's what happened. I ordered the signed special edition. Where's the signature? Right here. The signed special edition of this book online. And it took forever to get here. Far longer than, like far past the time where I wanted to be reading it. So I was like, well, I really want to start reading it now. And like, am I really gonna want to annotate my signed special edition? Like, probably not. So I got a different copy, not signed. I didn't even care to get the special edition, but that's all that was in stock when I went to go get it, surprisingly. So I got this, I'm annotating it. I haven't finished reading it because between you and me, I'm not loving it. And it makes me so, so sad. Next I have Walking Practice by Dolki Min. Sorry, the like sun, there's probably a glare. The sun is like right in the window of the building across from me. Walking Practice by Dolki Min. This is a horror about an alien who crash landed on Earth some time ago, has been living here forever, and has to very graphically have sex with and eat other people to sustain itself. Went in directions, well, this isn't a review. I'll talk about this in my end of year wrap up. Read it, loved it. The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, I read several years ago through audio, never owned the physical copy, found it at a secondhand store on sale, thought why not? I loved the book, I'll go ahead and get a copy. 2 other books that I read this year and loved, Know My Name by Chanel Miller and Hunger by Roxane Gay. These absolutely, I listen to them on audiobook. I always like memoirs on audiobook because usually the author is reading them, so you get that personal touch into it. Listen to them on audiobook, loved them, both 5 stars. They absolutely deserve rereads and annotations. And I also just want, you know, if I love a book, I want the physical copy for my collection. So got these. Finally, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. Hated it, think I gave it 1 star. You can hear all about it in my end of year wrap up. Okay, the next group of books, in the last group of books, I've organized like loosely by genre or like vibe. I have a few books that are like cozy fantasy translated from Asian authors. Usually books of this ilk are set in like a coffee shop or a market or a cafe or some sort of retail establishment that has like a magical element to it. So I have the Amber Glow Candy Store by Hioki Kurisu, translated by Matt Trayvod. This is a candy store that is hidden in a cozy night alley. It's open between the full moon and the new moon and accessible only to yokai and those vulnerable. Not sure what that means. I'm sure it has, it's a part of the, like, the author's from Japan, so I'm guessing Japanese folklore of some kind. Anyway, the point is not a lot of humans are able to come to the store, but then a human does, and presumably things happen from there. I have The Rainfall Market by Yu Young Wong, translated by Slin Jung. This is about, on the outskirts of a rainbow town, there's an old abandoned house. They say that if you send a letter detailing your misfortunes there, you could receive a ticket. If you bring this ticket to the house on the first day of the rainy season, you'll be granted entrance into the mysterious rainfall market, where you can choose to completely change your life. And then someone does get a ticket, and she goes to completely change her life. And then I have the Dalergut Dream Making District by Mai Lee, translated by Sandy Jusun Lee. This is take a train ride to where your dreams are made. Somewhere where dreams are made, I guess. Yeah, woman goes to the place where the dream production company, they make your dreams. They make your dreams. Next, after just talking about how I'm not interested in vampire books, let's talk about the 3 vampire adjacent stories I've bought. A Blood as Bright as the Moon by Andrea Morstabolini. This is about a young vampire, the Royal Diurnal Society, a group with sinister plans for vampires, are closing in on, like, this community of vampires, and I think they need to move to the moon. Yeah, to build makeshift wings and fly to the moon where a safe haven awaits for all vampires. Vampires, moon, like, what could possibly be happening there? Young vampire, his name is Ambrose. I thought this was queer. It doesn't say in the synopsis that it is, so not clear on that, but it sounds interesting either way. Vampires going to the moon? What could possibly be happening there? I have The Good Vampire's Guide to Blood and Boyfriends by Jamie D'Amato. This is about Brennan, who I think tries to commit suicide and then becomes a vampire. Heartstopper meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer in this queer paranormal rom-com where a college sophomore must navigate suddenly becoming a vampire, the underground society he's now part of, and the cute boy who discovers his secret. Fun. And then I have Till Death by Kellen McDaniel. Again, like, do I need to say anything, or does the cover kind of give away the vibes? Oh my god. My changing hands stamp card hiding in this book. Romantic and sexy, political and violent, Till Death is the young adult debut of acclaimed author Kellen McDaniel. Prepare to fall in love. Vampires, they're gay. There's probably yearning. There's danger. Next, maybe let's just go with historical fiction. I have Mother of Strangers by Swad Amiri. I feel like I've hauled this. I feel like I've hauled this before. It is set in late 1940s, early 1950s Palestine, when tensions were obviously high in the area. So I'm always looking for books to read that are from that voice. And I really loved the cover, and I really love, like, I don't know if you can tell, but the lettering is orange there. It's a great color scheme. Sitting here right now, I don't exactly remember what it's about. Feel like I've hauled this before, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's a Palestinian story, and that's just something that we all should be reading right now. I have Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. The movie was absolutely so incredible, and now I want to read the book. I have The Lilac People by Milo Todd. Sorry, do I need to explain what Hamnet is about? It's Shakespeare's family. The Lilac People by Milo Todd. A moving and deeply humane story about a trans man who must relinquish the freedoms of pre-war Berlin to survive first the Nazis, then the Allies, while protecting the ones he loves. For readers of All the Light We Cannot See and In Memoriam. I loved In Memoriam. Sounds great. Historical fiction about, like, not just a queer person, but a trans person navigating a period of time where obviously this identity was not accepted. Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. Sapphic historical fiction with probably romance involved. Set in 1950s. The main character is Chinese American. Lots of things working against her, especially during this time, and she's navigating all of that. And then we have Florenzer by Phil Melanson. Set in either 14 or 1600s. When was Leonardo da Vinci alive? 1400s Rome, Florence. Sorry, 1400s Florence. Apparently, I did not know this. Very interested to learn this from this book. But apparently Florence in the 1400s was like a hot spot for the gays. Like all the gays were moving there and finding refuge in the city. And they were called Florenzers, like derogatorily. Kind of like our modern F slur, if you will. But it is following 3 people in history, 2 of which I don't know, Lorenzo de' Medici and Francesco Salviati. But also, main character is Leonardo da Vinci. And so they're all moving to Florence to be gay there. And there's gotta be conflict somewhere, right? Okay, I guess next I will do like science fiction fantasy. Surprisingly, I only have one science fiction book. This is Lark Ascending by Silas House. I mean, I've had others, they're just not in this stack. Lark Ascending by Silas House. My sister got me this for Christmas, had never heard of this book before, but she bought it from a blind date with a book, but the packaging, because usually when you go to a blind date with a book, they're just like wrapped like in regular paper. The way this was wrapped was so cute and artistic, and it was filled with like accoutrement that like complemented the book, I presume. Like it had sci-fi related stickers and a cute little bookmark and like a tea that maybe has the vibes of this book in some way. It was so cute. And then it ended up being the perfect pick because this is a timely, powerful story of survival set in the not too distant future, reminding us to always hold on to hope even in the worst times. We have someone named Lark. There's a lot of natural disasters plaguing. I think, oh yeah, in America, he's moving to Ireland. Oh, but Ireland no longer exists. So they went that journey for no reason. And so it's just this guy Lark who is battling the natural disasters and trying to survive. And he's also gay, because I don't see that in the synopsis, but it's blurbed, or like what was on the little synopsis that they put on the wrapping, because it's like a blind date, but they tell you a little bit about it. It was like pitched as being LGBT. So maybe in his journeys for safety, he'll meet a cute boy. I don't know. Then I have Extraordinary Quest for Amateur Witches by Kayla Cottingham. These 2 cuties, one of them is a witch and accidentally casts a spell on his boyfriend and makes him forget who they are. And so, oh, and he's also in school, I think, a school of witchcraft, and he pitches that his thesis is to create a magical cure-all, something that can break any curse, obviously, because he's trying to give his boyfriend his memories back. And so he's like, for my thesis, I'm going to create something that can break any curse, which obviously is like an insane task, because if that was possible, much more powerful witches than just like a regular student would have done that already. So lots of drama, I'm sure. Then I have The In-Between Bookstore by Edward Underhill. A whimsical and healing novel about a trans man in New York who, almost 30, laid off, broke, moves back to his small Illinois hometown, walks into the bookstore he worked at in high school, and slips through time to come face to face with his pre-transition teenage self. I love a bookstore vibe. Even more than that, I love a magical bookstore. So into that. I have Honey Eater by Kathleen Jennings. Love Kathleen Jennings. She wrote Fly Away, which I absolutely loved. This is her newest novel. It's more of a novella, maybe. I don't remember exactly. A richly imagined dark fantasy that pulses with the beautiful destruction of a town reclaimed by the natural world. She just has such a talent for writing. She's Australian and her books are set in Australia. So it's like this outback, dark fantasy, like fairy tale vibe that is just so haunting. Like this sort of eerie dimness to her writing mixed with like the Australian setting is just so like those two things are juxtaposed in such an interesting way. And her writing is just so haunting. So I'm very excited for that. We have A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland. Prince, I believe, and his newly commissioned bodyguard. Obviously, look how hot they are. They're gonna fall in love. High fantasy, political drama. I don't really love politics in my science fiction and fantasy. I don't really like a space opera. I don't really like things with kingdoms navigating relations to each other. But like, how could I deny those faces, you know? And then I have an absolute mammoth, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I have to read this. Love Piranesi by Susanna Clarke, one of my favorite books. And also R.F. Kuang blurbed this and says, the book I wish I'd written. R.F. Kuang saying that? Gotta read it, gotta read it. Okay, a couple mystery thrillers. Bathhouse by P.J. Vernon. Man goes to a bathhouse, hooks up with a guy. He's married, so he's cheating on his husband. The guy who he hooks up with ends up stalking him and is like very dangerous situation for this man. And so he has to navigate being stalked by the man he hooked up with. And like, obviously, if your life's in danger, you want to tell your husband, but to tell his husband would be to admit that he cheated on him. Very dramatic. The Killer Question by Janice Hallett. Murder at Trivia. And it's mixed media. We have text messages. We have, I believe there are the trivia questions in here too. And somehow the trivia game and the trivia questions are supposed to help you solve the murder somehow. It sounds so fun. I love trivia. And that just sounds like a blast. A couple horror. We Came to Welcome You by Vincent Serrato. Had never heard of this author before, but apparently they have another book coming out called You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom, which I think is just a smashing title. So this author kind of came out of nowhere and like has piqued my interest. This is pitched as like a Jordan Peele type of story, and I love Jordan Peele's movies. It says it's The Other Black Girl meets Midsummer. I really liked The Other Black Girl, and I love Midsummer the movie. Spine-chilling, propulsive, psychological adult debut from highly acclaimed author Vincent Serrato. That's probably why I'd never heard of them before, because they've mostly been writing YA horror, and although I read a lot of YA romance, I don't read a lot of YA horror. A married couple moves into a gated community that slowly creeps into a pervasive dread akin to the social horror of Jordan Peele and Lovecraft Country. Love Lovecraft Country too. We Came to Welcome You cleverly uses the uncanny to illuminate the cultist shocking nature of systemic racism. Jordan Peele, Lovecraft Country, The Other Black Girl, Midsummer. These are all things I love. I have to love this book too. Midnight in Soap Lake by Matthew Sullivan. Great cover. This just looks insane. A lake with mysterious properties, a town haunted by urban legend, two women whose lives intersect in terrifying ways. Welcome to Soap Lake. Yeah, I want to go to Soap Lake. Finally, only 5 more books, you guys. Hang in there. Some just like general fiction. These didn't, and a memoir. These didn't fit nicely into any of these stacks, so here they are tacked on the end. The Dogs of Venice by Stephen Rowley. A man is recently divorced from his husband, goes to Venice to find himself, takes inspiration by a stray dog who has been roaming through Venice, and he's ostensibly going to learn something about himself. Little baby book. Can knock it out in a day. Looks great. Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart. I'm scared of it, but I'm gonna do it. This is supposed to be emotionally devastating. A story of queer love in working class families. Young Mungo is the brilliant second novel from the writer of Shiggy Bane. Never read Shiggy Bane. I'm scared. I'm scared of Douglas Stewart. He, by all accounts, is writing things that absolutely destroy your gay little heart. I'm scared, but it just sounds so good. I have to do it. Stop Me Before... What is it called? Stop Me If You've Heard This One by Kristen Arnett. Insane cover. Don't remember. A sparkling new novel of entertainment, ambition, art, and love from the New York Times bestselling author of Mostly Dead Things. Blah, blah, blah. Equal parts bravado, tenderness, and humor, and bursting with misfits, magicians, and mimes. Stop Me If You've Heard This One is a masterpiece of comedic fiction that asks big questions about art and performance, friendship and community, and the importance of timing in jokes and in life. Sure, why not? You know, it's tiny, quick read, maybe. I hope. It sounds interesting enough. Okay, memoir, All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This is a YA memoir about a man who kind of recounting his experience growing up Black and gay. That's kind of all I know about it, but the other thing I know about it, it is, I think for 2 years in a row now, the most banned book in the country. The book with the most attempts to take it off shelves, take it out of the library, and limit access to it. So of course I have to support. And finally, we have Hated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. Against all odds, I've gotten my hand on this. It hasn't been available anywhere, but my friend Gianna got it for me for Christmas. And I'm so happy. I have watched the show. I have not watched episode 6 yet. I'm probably gonna do that today. But having not read the book, I'm sure there's a lot of missing from the show, so I'm so excited. I'm gonna finish the show, and then I can read this, and then I can watch the show again, and it'll be like I'm watching the show again for the first time, because I'll be picking up on so much more nuance, you know? So I'm so excited for that. Anyway, those were my 60+ books that I have bought in the past 6 months. And that's insane. Tell me what you would like me to read. Leave it in the comments below. Leave, like, what's that emoji where it's like sticking its tongue out and like either its eyes are dollar signs or its tongue is dollar signs. That emoji, whatever that emoji looks like, perhaps I'm putting it up here. Drop that in the comments. Really, we should be putting something in the comments that signifies like disappointment in the financial decisions. Whatever. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the haul, and I will catch you in a few days with my 2025 end of year wrap up, ranking all the 63 books I read this year. And I have no idea how I'm gonna rank those. I still don't know what my favorite book is. It is currently, I think, July 4th. July, we're in January, first of all, and it's January 3rd. It is January 3rd, and I still don't know what my favorite book was from last year. I have to do a lot of soul searching. So tune in to see what I found when I searched my soul. Goodbye.